Have you ever worked super hard to accomplish a bunch of stuff in your business or your career, only to come home to say, what's my reward? I worked super hard today, I achieved all these things, and now I'm going to have a toke of cannabis. Now I'm going to have some nicotine. Now I'm going to drink some alcohol. And that's going to be my reward for all of my effort and all of my hard work that I put into a day. A lot of people view substances as a reward. This is a common perceived benefit of cannabis consumption, alcohol consumption, tobacco, and nicotine consumption. And it's a major, major problem if you're struggling with an addiction or a substance use disorder regarding cannabis, nicotine, or other things like that. Because when you view the substance as a reward, you are very closely associating it with that dopamine release from the brain. And when your brain sees something as a reward and it releases dopamine in response to it, you become motivated to seek that behavior over and over and over again. Not only that, but you have now associated that substance as having the benefit of being something that's rewarding you versus taking away from you. And in today's video, I'm going to provide you guys with 3 rewards that I have seen literally hundreds, if not thousands of clients experience since helping them stop using nicotine and cannabis products. Rewards just like this individual experienced who generated $20,000 more for their firm, or a reward like this individual experienced who generated $5,000 more for their private marketing agency since working with us and stopping the consumption of cannabis and other various substances. Now, real quick, if you're new here, my name's Dr. Frank, and if you are a high-level professional, maybe you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you're a C-suite executive, a physician, an attorney, we have a science-backed method that has a 98% success rate at helping people quit nicotine and cannabis in as little as 48 hours. Privately, without disrupting your public life and image, and without relapse. You can learn more about that with the link in the video description. So the true reward in quitting substances is the ability to no longer need permission from the drug to receive joy or pleasure from day-to-day experiences. A lot of people become dependent upon cannabis or nicotine to receive pleasure out of an experience. Going on a vacation, you can't enjoy it unless you have weed with you. Going to a dinner with your wife and your family, you can't enjoy it unless you're drinking alcohol. Maybe this could be going through a sad event, the loss of a business deal, the loss of a loved one, the loss of something, and you don't give yourself permission to grieve without consuming the substance. This is one of the worst things about substance use. It literally robs us of life's rewards, of life's pleasures. When you are dependent upon a drug to receive pleasure from an experience that should be naturally gratifying, naturally pleasurable, you are literally robbing yourself of that reward. I cannot tell you the amount of parents that I've worked with, the amount of business owners that I've worked with that have accomplished great things. They landed a new client deal. They landed this. They did that. And they can't find any enjoyment in it until they go home and smoke weed, until they go home and drink alcohol, until they have another cigarette, until they hit their vape. Something that they should be able to celebrate, something that their brain should recognize as, hey, we want to repeat this behavior over and over and over again because it's a good feeling. Unfortunately, they haven't given themselves permission to enjoy that because the permission for enjoyment is dependent upon the consumption of a drug, and they have been robbed of that reward. I've seen it with parents. They're at their kid's soccer game. They're at their kid's event. They're playing with their children after a long day of work, and they say, I just can't even enjoy this anymore without hitting my vape, without being high, without being under the influence of alcohol. You've been robbed of the reward of parenthood because of a substance. Something that, although can be extraordinarily stressful, should have very, very, very pleasurable, enjoyable moments with it as well. I can't tell you time and time again how many people I've heard say to me after they've quit, Dr. Frank, it's so nice to finally to be able to enjoy whatever it may be. This experience with my family, this vacation with my friends, this business win. and just be able to enjoy it for what it is without the enjoyment being dependent upon the consumption of a drug. Because I've also seen on the flip side, many people who have struggled with substance use, and I want to remind you, I was many people. I deeply struggled for 9 years, where they go on the vacation, they get the big business win, and maybe they don't have access to the drug at the time, or it's limited access. And they're like, well, this is nice, but I really don't enjoy it because, I'm going through withdrawals right now, or I really can't enjoy it because it'd be so much better if I was high. It's sad. It's a very, very sad way to experience life when your permission for joy is dependent upon a drug. And that's something that you can break free of when you quit. And there's a science behind why that is. When you consume drugs, dopamine is released initially, but over a chronic period of consumption, eventually your brain enters into a state of dopamine deficit. Dopamine levels start to deplete. With drug consumption, when you're viewing it as a reward, what you're actually doing is neglecting the actual rewards. So like those clients that I showed you that brought in more money for their businesses and their firms since quitting and working with us. What happens is people will do that. They'll go consume a drug to celebrate. And because that drug stimulates dopamine, the brain doesn't recognize the business win as the reward anymore. The increased income, the increased productivity in a person's career. The brain sees the drug as the reward. And then it says, give me more of that. That's what the dopamine wants. It wants more of that. And now the pursuit becomes the pursuit of more of the drug versus the pursuit of more success, the pursuit of that next client deal, the pursuit of that next client acquisition, whatever it may be. And this is where I see business professionals screw themselves over and over and over and over again. Because the reward should be, oh, I got to that next level in my career. I got that next level of finances. Now, how do I reproduce that over and over and over again? When you're consuming drugs, the dopamine is distracted by the drug, and it's not getting put into reproducing the desired outcome again. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a complicated topic. When you stop consuming drugs, another thing happens. This is thing number 2 when it comes to rewards. Your dopamine levels start to reset. So your tolerance for pleasure and enjoyment actually starts to go down. I'll give you an example of myself. My dopamine threshold was at one point in time getting high on cannabis, consuming nicotine, hitting my vape, and watching adult media content all in one sitting. So that was my threshold for pleasure, to experience pleasure. When I quit, suddenly going outside for a walk on a beautiful day or going for a hike and being outside in nature became enjoyable again. Spending time with my significant other, quality time, became enjoyable again. Working and learning and educating myself became exciting and enjoyable again because my threshold for dopamine release had dropped since quitting substances. I didn't need adult media content, nicotine, cannabis, and stimulants to experience joy anymore. So now the littler things in life, experiencing music, experiencing food, experiencing relationships, started to bring me joy again. And that's the reward. Those things should be naturally rewarding in life. But so many people with substance use, especially polysubstance use, I've worked with a number of clients who struggle with multiple substances. Their dopamine threshold is all messed up. And we have to get to a place to reset that so they can start to experience joy and pleasure again eventually. Reward number 3 is going to be getting to trust yourself again. And that's confidence. Most people think about rewards as something tangible. I got a trophy. I got a paycheck raise. It's something tangible. I bought a new watch, whatever it may be. But rewards can also be psychological, a boost in self-esteem, a boost in confidence, and self-worth. These are rewards that we can experience when we stop the use of substances. I can't tell you how many high-level professionals have told me over the years, Dr. Frank, I didn't realize how much my confidence was damaged from saying, I'm going to quit, I'm not going to quit, I'm going to quit, I'm not going to quit. And how unrewarding that experience actually was. The reward of making a decision and seeing that decision through, the reward of increased confidence, increased self-value, increased self-worth is immeasurable compared to some of the financial rewards that I've seen high-level professionals experience since stopping the use of substances. Those rewards are immeasurable. Time with the children, time with the wife, time with the husband, time with the family. You can't put a value on those rewards. Now, again, if that sounds like you, if you are someone who works extraordinarily hard and you are a high-level professional, you're a business owner, a C-suite executive, maybe you're a real estate investor, maybe you're a physician, an attorney, we have a science-backed method that is specifically for you. It has a 98% success rate at helping people quit nicotine and cannabis in as little as 48 hours. You don't have to admit you're powerless to the substance. You don't have to attend lifelong recovery meetings, and you can accomplish it without disrupting your public life or image and without relapse. I put a link for that in the video description in the pinned comment. Now, on the back end of all this, there is another aspect to reward. The reward in quitting drugs is better health. The reward in quitting substances is stronger, deeper relationships. The reward in stopping the use of a drug is better finances. These things are rewarding, and your brain should recognize them as rewarding, because then your brain is going to start to hardwire how to reproduce those results that are getting you those things over and over and over again. Consuming a substance that is quite literally toxic. If you're smoking cannabis, if you're drinking alcohol that breaks down to acetaldehyde, it's literally a toxin, a poison. If you're poisoning yourself with vapes and tobacco products, there is no reward in that. There is only the perception of reward. There is only the perceived benefit. But logically, when we speak about it like this, there is no reward. There is no reward in continuing to harm yourself, continuing to damage yourself. There is only more pain. I always say when we're consuming a drug, we're not chasing a higher high. We're chasing our next low. The true reward in quitting a substance is getting back your time, getting back your energy, getting back your motivation, getting back your physical health and your mental health, and then applying those traits to accomplishing the things in life that you want to accomplish, and then eventually enjoying the fruits of your labor. That is the true reward in quitting a substance. It's getting the mental, the physical capabilities to do the things in life that you actually want to be doing. Now, maybe you're watching this video and you're saying, yeah, but Dr. Frank, I quit and not a lot has changed and I haven't yet experienced those rewards. And when am I going to experience those things? If that's the case, I want you to follow me right into the next video where I take a deeper dive into addressing that concern.